So the whole deal with Vercel is that it's usage-based pricing. At best, the majority of people pay nothing or $20 a month, and on the off chance that you actually have enough users to make any money, then you only pay for what you use. It seems like a pretty good deal. There's just one problem, and that's that everyone and their mother is trying to scrape the entire internet to try and build the next LLM model that will actually 100% be worth it next time. Please just trust me, bro, the singularity is almost here. Let me have all your data. Sam Altman ignoring your robot.txt file and absolutely slamming your servers with thousands of requests is basically a rite of passage that indicates you've successfully set up SEO. And when that happens, this little plus additional usage here means that you're copying a bill the size of your mortgage for a side project that never really intended to make bank. Every few weeks you see a post on Reddit about some poor soul that played reverse lotto and now has a bill he can't possibly pay. If you're lucky, then your post goes viral and the Vercel team will cover your bill. But I can't help think about those that weren't so lucky. You might never have to pay, but Vercel's business model hinges on some people overpaying for their services. Services that are basically just AWS wrappers, which in my opinion is already overpriced. But I get it. You want automatic deployments when you push to GitHub. You want the convenience. You don't want to think about infra. But trust me, we have the technology. I'm going to show you how to take a project from Vercel's ecosystem and move it onto servers that you control with simple, predictable pricing. And it's going to be so easy you can do it in minutes. And you won't ever run the risk of getting a surprise bill the size of your life savings, all because you had the audacity to create a website. The first thing you need is a computer. A VPS is best. Use whatever one you like. I'm not sponsored. But thanks again to AI, prices for VPSs are also on the rise, so be careful. I'm going to use a Raspberry Pi. You could also use your computer, an old phone, or just about anything with a CPU that can run Linux. There are a few services that allow for automatic deployments, the most popular one being Coolify. I'm going to be using one called Dokploy. I chose this one because I thought the logo looked cooler. This was the same reason I picked the Recon class in Battlefield Bad Company 2, and how I've made every important decision in my life since then. Choose whatever one you like. They essentially all do the same thing, and it's not hard to change if you really hate it. Honestly, all you need to do to replace Vercel's entire business is SSH into your VPS or computer or whatever and run this one command. Now, some people say that you shouldn't run random bash scripts without checking them first. And to those people, I say no. And also, you have to run this one as a super user. This is called vibe installing. It probably won't destroy your computer and steal all your data, but it could. Once the install is complete, you have to create an initial account and then go to web server and add the domain or IP address of the computer where this is currently running. Then you can create a project and then inside that project create a service. I forked a GitHub repository with one of Vercel's templates. I haven't had to make any changes to it at all. I can sign in with GitHub, select the repository, and then select Railpack as my build system. Railpack scans the repository and sets up the appropriate build. You can always use a Docker file if you want more control, but this really makes it plug and play for existing Vercel projects. Just make sure that you have whatever environment variables you need configured. This service is now deployed, and it will automatically redeploy whenever any changes are pushed to the repository. Dokploy also gives me a traffic URL to access it over the internet, but if you want SSL, you can just add a custom domain. And honestly, that's kind of it. I don't know what else you want. This is essentially all Vercel does. Multi-billion-dollar company, by the way. You can monitor your services directly or the host machine as a whole. There's some nicely formatted logs, and you have the option to add alerts. You can also deploy a database service directly from here. There's Postgres and Redis and a bunch of other options that you're never going to use because Postgres just does what they do, but better. You can configure automatic backups to an S3 compatible store as well, which is probably a good idea. This costs like $5 a month or less, or nothing if you have a computer lying around. It genuinely just takes a few minutes to install and configure, and then you get to have control over your resources, especially for personal projects. There is no point risking usage-based pricing for something that's never even intended to make any money. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so goodbye. Oh yeah, there's no sponsor for this video, or any other videos actually. And that's not because I have any sort of morals or because I hate money. It's because my only motivation is getting a silver play button. I know subscriptions mean nothing in the age of algorithms, but please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video. It really does mean a lot to me.